Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is B from Kongs R Us, and man, I am really up close right now, so let me adjust this stream. But today, this morning, I wanted to go live to kind of demo kind of all the work I've been doing on the back end to finish up these Star Wars Arcade commissions that I've had for quite a bit of time. And so this is meant to be more of a peek at the back of the lab so you guys can see how things are going. So if you guys saw in my preview pic, I have about 20 panels that I've been working on in the last week or so. And so I just wanted to do a little bit of behind the scenes on me finishing up some of the wiring, get this out for folks. Anybody who's interested in modding their own Star Wars panels or anything as well, happy to help out. What's going on, guys? Is that Adrian Mitchell? I don't see your name, but I recognize you from the Bumbo Clot. Very nice, man. Thanks, man. Appreciate you watching. But yeah, we have panels here. I mean, if you saw my picture, I'll see if I can get on stream and point down. You can see the background picture. I have my entire room filled up with Star Wars Arcade commissions that I've been working on pretty much nonstop anytime I've had some free time and some downtime to be able to get working on these panels. They take a lot of time. I mean, you see the detail on each of these where I drill out the buttons, make the actual logos for everything. When I flip this around, you'll see all the wiring it takes to get all of this done. So it really takes a lot of time. And so part of me is like, I want to get faster at creating these commissions for folks. Some of these I've been having since I think late August, September. I definitely had some delays from finishing them up due to like my updated playlist, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But I think part of it is mostly my obsession with perfection. So for my obsession with perfection is what's probably keeping these from being done faster. Because if it's not up to par with what I want to see, then yeah, that's what's always the problem and the issue there. So I had, for example, oh man, not gonna. Yeah, I had Robert Pierre-Smith Jr.'s Ralph. Ralph's here. Ralph, this is your panel right here. But for Robert, your commission was, I think, here, and I had worked on it, and there was a small little chip. Look at this. You guys can see this. I was drilling, and I made this small little nick right there. I should probably make this the bigger camera so you guys can see it. But I was just unhappy that the fact that I had this little nick, so I redid the whole panel and had to get a separate one. So this is now a spare panel just because it had a small little nick there. But that's just me wanting to make sure I have like the best product for any of my clients there. So let me turn off this one so you guys can see everything else that's happening. But let me know if you guys have any questions while I'm working on this stuff. I'll be probably streaming for about an hour and a half or so. I brought all my equipment into my room with me here. So not only do I have the panel here in this camera, but I have, I just turned off my camera, but I'll show the side camera. Let's see. All right, so here's my side camera. These are all my my tools, my supplies right there. So I have a mobile cart of supplies with me. I got my tools in this toolbox that was sitting outside. I got my soldering iron because I've been soldering stuff. Got my heat gun. So we'll be in it today. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. I'll just kind of be doing a chill stream to watch going through these panels and hopefully get these done by this weekend. I'm going to be working all day today. I know people have been waiting a long time. Hopefully we can get them out. I don't know if they'll arrive before Christmas, but I got my PC building station over here where I'm building PCs for builds and everything. So it's quite a production for a one-man show. But I've also been able to have some help, so I really appreciate. I have my sister-in-law who's been helping me with some wiring, been kind of mentoring her and having a second help. Do I whistle while I work? Yes, I do play some background music for sure. So maybe I can get some background music on the stream while I'm going. But hey, got a couple of people here. Sean E saying I'm doing a good job. Sean E was my lucky winner of my commission drawing giveaway. So he's the only other person I've been accepting a panel from because everybody else I'm waiting to take new commission orders into the new year. So I have a lot of things I want to get done first before that. So here's the back side of the panel, so you guys can see everything looks like. I have everything kind of prepped and wired. I just don't have anything plugged into the APAC itself. So I'm going to be going through the installation into the APAC. I have one of these basic 4-axis joysticks, which is, I kind of discovered this joystick, and this has actually become my favorite throttle to add into a Star Wars control panel. And the reason for it is that it's low profile. Even though it's a true analog stick, it doesn't like hinder the yoke movement. The premium flight stick looks really nice too, but sometimes like if you have thicker hands, you can hit it, and then the throttle definitely sometimes gets in the way. So this has become my go-to favorite stick that I like to use, and it's the cheapest one. So we're gonna wire that up too. I have a bunch of other panels behind me that I'm gonna be doing as well. So yeah, need to get a good gun steering wheel for my bar top. If you come across any good deals on Optiplex, let me know, please. If you're looking for Optiplex, search Facebook Marketplace for sure. If you are looking, I think I just dropped that. Whoops. Sorry. All right, dual would be cool. So yeah, there's a dual premium sticks that are behind me too, so I'll get that going. I'm gonna see if I can put on some relaxing background music while I work. I found a new YouTube channel that I absolutely love. His name is Vector U, and he does some remixes of popular arcade games and stuff. So I've been trying to play these songs on my stream for the last while, but we're gonna play it, and hopefully it'll just come across in the background as you guys are listening to me work. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll be chilling and streaming. Let's see. I'll turn this up a little bit so you guys can hear it while I'm working. All right, cool. Tangerine Dream is good for relaxing. I will check it out for sure. All right, let's get working. So I got my chart here. I'm gonna start wiring up these panels. First thing I always start with is the actual yoke itself. So these are all the wires from the original yoke. So this is the X-axis panel here. Got my ground wire that I'm gonna be splicing a little bit later. So these just go into the right and left spot. I probably will plan on making an updated tutorial on modding this in 2021. I think there's a lot of new things that I've learned in the last year, plus finding a different encoder that would work with this too. So yeah. This is your Y-axis controller here. So this is the Y-axis side. So this is going to plug into your up and down. I already have the colors kind of memorized here, so I'm not going to go into crazy detail about the colors in which they go, but I've been using extender wires on all of these, so it's a lot easier to kind of just see what extensions there are and see what colors go where. All right, the other big thing that I do while I'm wiring to help, as you see, this is like a big jumbled mess. I have tons and tons of zip ties ready and handy, and I zip tie everything down while I'm working. So that helps kind of keep things clean as I'm going along. Thanks, man. Jamie, I did get a chance to test that spinner. It's awesome. Yeah, it's really good. Jamie has one of the most unique panels ever created. So I kind of like it when some of my clients come to me with custom ideas and things that they want to see in their panels, just because I've been doing the same mod for like the last 8 months, right? So while I'm always excited to help people out, it does get kind of in the same routine. So when I get a new challenge or something, like I'll talk about my man Dan Mosel for a minute, because we did a Star Fox mod. If you guys haven't seen it yet, we haven't been able to do a showcase for it yet, but that really took me out of my current comfort zone of modding and of my playlist, and really pushed me to the next level. So like, when you guys have more ideas for me, that always helps me take things to like the next level. So that's always cool. So Jamie, you're definitely one of those inspirational folks that was like, hey, can you add a spinner into my Star Wars control panel? So yeah, that was really cool, man. So I tested it out. I did some gameplay, mapped it out. Got a little special surprise for you too when you get your panel, by the way. So you might see something kind of unique. All right, so now what I'm doing is wiring up the buttons. So I tied down the buttons here, and then I kind of have it memorized because the colors are always the same. But I always start red, brown are my buttons 3 and 4, which are on the left side of the yoke. So we're gonna wire these in. All right. And brown.
A phone plan by Google. It's easy to switch to 5 from the comfort of your home. Purchase a new phone or use the phone you have.
All right.
Then set up your phone plan from home in just minutes. Sign up at 5.google.com.
And next we're gonna do the next buttons 5 and 6. Blue, green. So this is going to button 5 and 6. Bobby says, I swear someone needs to make a gamer movie with modders and PW guys and Ralph like a new wizard. Yeah, you know what's crazy about this arcade community is that there's so much talent out there, right? The people that like create, you know, custom cab designs, like I'm decent with like the wiring and everything like that, but people that can make stuff from scratch and build stuff, like I don't have that skill. So I think everybody has something to offer, which is really cool to see the different skill levels. So, you know, I'd love to highlight some of the other modders in the community, and like I did that. I think I did a stream with at least Gene, but you know, I've done stuff with Bobby. Obviously, you know, some folks that know me, Bobby Vu is an amazing modder. So I'd love to collab and work with other modders too, and kind of highlight some work. So if you guys are watching and you guys do your own mods, you know, happy to connect and see if we can highlight some stuff that you're working on and see how we can collab. One of my favorite collaborators, George Adana, if he ever watches this, but man, me and George Adana, he's crazy insane with this 3D printer and laser cutter. So I was super happy to do a stream with him and kind of showcase what he can do with his laser cutter and 3D printer. Hope some of you guys reached out to him for your Star Wars bezels. Those 3D printed bezels were badass. So reach out to him. He's one of my favorite guys to collab with. And that's taking two guys that have like different talents, right? Like he didn't have like the knowledge for the wiring and kind of that technical side, but like he does all that 3D printing stuff, which is like a match made, right? So we have an amazing collab project that, you know, I hinted at, but as soon as I get done with all these mods, I'll be able to focus in on that stuff too. So can't wait to work with him on that. What's up, Zane? Zane's here. Zane just got my Big Kid toy box, just got his last week. I was working on 20 plus. I say 20 plus, I have 16 behind me because I was rushing and I got like 4 out this week. So I've been scrambling to get as many out as. So I hope you're enjoying, man. The good news for people that are waiting for me and like kind of waiting for these commissions is like every day I find some new optimization for like the playlist or something else. So the longer you wait, the better the playlist is. So I swear, like, and Zane helped me found like all these little mini bugs that I thought I already fixed, but I guess in the latest version wasn't there. So Zane was helping me do some really good testing for you guys. So good work, Zane. Zane was very detailed and went through every single game, all 329 games, to make sure they were working. And we got them working. We got them working. All right. Let's tie this down. Arcades of the Future would be a cool collaboration. Is that the title of the show, Bobby, or is that a person that I should be reaching out to? Are you trying to brand what the collab should be named? Okay, so we wired up this side buttons here. So these buttons, I usually make these kind of like 7, 8, and then 11 and 12. So these are all part of the player 1 side. This is the big red button over here on the side that that is mapped to the number 2 button side.
Show up in style. Just make a quick trip to your local Salvation Army thrift store.
Right.
Our racks are stocked up with the items people have donated after cleaning out their closets while staying home.
Oh, now I miss zip tying this little guy here. So this is where my like mini OCD like gets me, right? Like I'm working on something and like, oh, I thought I finished it, and then I'm like, I forgot to include a little wire. So instead of like unzipping this, I kind of like I waste so much stuff. I'm gonna clip it and then redo it. So this is just an example of me going back. Usually don't make a ton of those errors, but doing this live stream while modding is always interesting because you're talking while you're working. Thought it'd be good content. Hopefully, I mean, 15 people watching. Thanks for guys for checking this out and being interested. But yeah, happy to chat with you guys if you guys have specific questions about modding or anything too. Love to hear from you guys. All right, so we're gonna tie this down. Bobby says, since new cabs and arcades are not really a thing, what new tech would you use in an arcade, a future type of collaboration? Ah, okay, so kind of that tinkering with tech and kind of figuring out new technology. Absolutely, that sounds cool. Definitely like very, very much into tech stuff as well. But I feel like I'm not like I'm not always an early adopter of tech and stuff. So a good example is like this year's holiday craze of the PS5 and the Xbox Series S. I've never been like an early console adopter either. It's just one of those things where I usually wait till there's better games that I actually want to play and then I'll get it just instead of for the sake of having it. Because I got my PS4 Pro with the specific intent of playing Final Fantasy Remake. So when Final Fantasy VII Remake was announced, like I literally bought my PS4 Pro the next week and was like, it's gonna come soon. It's gonna come soon. And then it was delayed for like, God knows, like what, 2-3 years before it actually was released. So it kind of takes like a good game for me to like jump into like a new console. So that was that. But yeah, and funny enough, like as much as I love Final Fantasy VII, I've gotten so busy with modding. I haven't even finished the game yet. I need to get back into it because like I need to get back into my RPG roots and Final Fantasy stuff too. It's always fun. Awesome. What's up, 1979 War Machine? Been looking at tutorials and just finished getting all your parts. Oh, my camera went funky. Sorry, I'm using kind of like some tape to hold up my camera down. Looking forward to trying my first mod with Star Wars Arcade. This is your very first mod and you're gonna do the Star Wars Arcade. Nice, man. It's I think it's maybe one of the more challenging ones in terms of wiring and setup, but it's definitely the most rewarding. I think the Star Wars mod that you guys have been seeing me do is the most versatile mod you can add into your collection. Like doing RetroPie and a Raspberry Pi with 3,000 games is good fun to have, but can all of those really replicate racing, shooting, flying, all into one thing? The Yoke is my favorite controller, as you can tell. I wouldn't have dedicated my channel mostly to doing Star Wars mods if I didn't love it and see all the potential. So anybody that has it or has done their own mod, it's definitely worth it. So and I think I said it in the beginning of the video, but I will be hopefully doing a 2021 version of how to mod your Star Wars Arcade1Up 2 with some kind of newer parts, some different things that I've learned, some different ways to tie off the ground stuff. I've definitely learned a whole lot since then. So like, for example, in my original tutorial, I used to take the individual grounds from each of these. I would take 2 wires and then take all the ground wires and then splice them into one little ferrule tube, plug them into here. It was just a big mess. And then I was like, why don't I just use ground daisy chain wires like everybody else does? And I'm like, okay, so that was just me not, when I first started modding this arcade in, I think, March or April, I was brand new to modding too. I modded my first Street Fighter cab with ETA Prime's video, just like everybody else did in like January of this year or like February. So I mean, my modding knowledge has just exponentially increased, but it's just taking some basic principles and now applying it to this. So I'll do a 2021 version. So what I'm doing now is I took all the ground wires from the buttons, and instead of like tying it into a single ferrule tube, I'm going to add this into the daisy chain that I'm going to have for my buttons. And I have this set. This is a crimper set that I have with these different connector tools, these quick disconnects. So this is now my go-to method of tying off ground wires together. So I'm going to tie all of these. It's the 6 buttons for the yoke, the 4 buttons for the 4 buttons for the yoke and the x-axis and y-axis, and then the volume switch ground is going into here. So I have 7 wires going into here. So that's nice and tied. Sometimes I don't do like the best job of crimping it down, so you got to make sure the wires are crimped. And this is where I didn't do a good job of crimping it down and one of them came loose. So I'm going to redo this whole thing. Oh, I love this mix of Dark World from Vector U. Vector U, man, you are awesome. This Dark World mix is amazing. Other new tools in my handy box is these Knipex automatic wire strippers. Man, I did like a 1-minute review of these, and these have like been totally worth, I think it was like $35 for these. But man, if you're modding and doing tons of wiring, cannot recommend getting automatic wire strippers enough. It will change your life, quality of life. I love getting here. It's actually even fun to use. You know how like when you have the right tools, it actually makes the job more fun to do. Like just like my drill press. I got a drill press recently. It actually is more fun to like drill panels. I used to dread drilling panels, and now I'm like, oh, I have to drill a panel? That's kind of fun. Growing up, getting new tools. Station. Bill and Ted 3. Did you guys watch Bill and Ted 3? That was awesome. Let's do this again. Tie this off better this time. Make sure all of them are even. I'm probably sure there's better ways to even do this. Like, you know, probably taking one of those ground ties and like kind of just twisting it. But I don't know. This is just a method that I've been doing, and I think it looks the cleanest. But I'm sure there's better ways of doing this. I bet there's arcade experts out there that are watching my channel that are like, this guy's still a noob. Sometimes I do feel like a noob. Look, another wire came loose. So bad. Doing the modding live is something that I probably should not recommend to people, because there's so many mistakes and little things that happen that you do that sometimes it's not great to showcase it live. But that's YouTube. That's content. Hopefully this is good content for you guys to watch. All right, just get a sneak. Let's tie that down. I like to go to the middle one and then the lowest one, so then it can get in there. Oh my god, I'm having so much trouble. Look, one of these guys like actually broke off in the middle of my crimping it too. Why? Oh, my ground wires keep going shorter and shorter. Bogus Joni, you teared up. Oh yes, music is so good, man. Good stuff. I really love the Steve Vai's guitar solo at the end. Didn't realize that really wasn't part of the original song. Steve Vai, man, what a guitar player. Yeah, I have heat shrink tubes right over here too. So normally what I do is after I tie it together, then I heat shrink tube it. So just not sure what happened. It got like clipped while I was working on it. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll just do like a quick. I'm running out of wire, so I don't want to cut it one more time. All right, so okay. This might be the first time we bust out the soldering iron just to solder it down, give it some nice secure connection, and then I'll heat shrink it because I don't want to cut any more wire off of this. So we're gonna solder a piece of that. And normally what I use the soldering iron for, it's not really required for anything, but when I make my custom inlet module switch, and then I tie my 12, like I think 14 gauge wires to the A1Up switches. Recently, I haven't done it for all my mods, but now I'm starting to actually solder down those points just for some extra secure connection because I want to make sure that that connection is really tight. So I've been doing that recently too. All right, got my solder here. This iron is heating up, getting hot. Got my pad. There's my soldering iron right there so you guys can see it. Got my solder. And we're just going to add a little bit of solder to this wire just so that it stays on. Santa's workshop. Yes. Do I have my helping hands here? I don't think I do. Right, so I'm just going to, probably not the most safest way to. Normally I'll use helping hands so that I can actually like hold it down. I'm just going to add a little bit of solder here. I need my helping hands. Where are my helping hands at? I don't think I have it in here. Helping hands help you tie stuff down. So instead of dangerously trying to hold stuff down, I'm gonna put these wires in here so I can at least make sure they're clamped together. Safety first, right? Safety first. There we go. Now that's together. Perfect. Now I can take my solder. Excellent. So that was totally unnecessary because I shouldn't have cut it in the first place. But now I finally have all my ground tubes together. And just like Bobby Broadway was saying, I do use heat shrink tubes to kind of tie it down afterwards when I connect everything. So I got my box of heat shrink tubes and my heat gun. Gotta find the right size tube. I think these are the tube sizes I've been using. This one? All right, I think it's this one. So we got heat shrink on there. Anybody recognize where this music's from? It's my jam. Favorite RPG game of all time. Kudos. Who can guess the song if you guys can hear it? I hope you guys can hear the background music. I know I've been having issues with that. All right. So that's all tied together. Let's work on this side now. So this is now, oh, I gotta finish doing this. This is left, right. This is my volume switches I always plug into the player 2, 11, and 12 slot. Perfect. All right, so that side is done. This is coin, this is start. So these are gonna go across here to coin and start. Good question, War Machine. Wiring this many wires looks tricky. Is this portion the most cumbersome part of the mods that you've done? Sort of. It kind of like you go through different stages. Like this mod that I'm doing with my premium buttons was like, this is like 90% show, 10% functionality. Like you don't have to add this many buttons into your control panel, but you know, it's one of the things that I did. So even with the basic wiring, the wiring part I don't think is the hardest part. It does just take time. And once you kind of get where everything goes, it's good. My biggest gripe early on before I got my drill press was actually drilling the holes efficiently, right? Because everybody has different methods for drilling through your panel and your plexiglass. And I know for beginners that are starting off, especially me, that's the most nerve-wracking, I think, is actually putting holes into not only your control panel, but your plexi. And like, I can't tell you how many plexiglasses I've broken by not using the right tool or not using the right technique. So that was probably the most cumbersome early on. But now I think it's, yeah, now I think the more buttons, the better, yeah. Now I think it's probably, maybe it's more like the software. I like doing the software side of things too. Like my playlist is up and running, but I always hate it when like something that I have is working and then it doesn't work or it breaks or a client tells me that a game isn't running. And I'm like, well, those are harder to fix. Like hardware is like hardware. If you plug everything in, it works, right? But then sometimes the software part can be just as maddening as the hardware component. So the wiring doesn't get me too much. All right, so I wired up this button as the number 1 button. This is my start and coin button. And these are all going into the player 2 side. And this top one here is my exit button. So these can be kind of any random one, but this top one is actually my number 4, is where I have my playlist set up to as an exit button. So that one's gonna go there. Probably gonna reserve the 1, 2, 3 slots for this guy. The joystick actually has 3 button inputs, so I'll probably make these 4, 5, 6, 7 if I can get it to reach. So 4. Let's do this one. 5. Make this one 6. What up, Derek? Cleveland like a mother. This is Ralph Cassius's panel right here. Good old Ralph. Your panel is up and coming. I think I might have already finished yours, Derek. I'm not sure. I have several that are like done. Several that are still just working and chugging. All right, those are all tied down. That's looking a lot cleaner, right? Very good. Just gotta do this part. Yeah. So this is measuring out. This is gonna be right, left.
all, show up in style. Just make a quick
Okay.
step to your local Salvation
This
Army
is going to
store.
be my
Our
up
racks
and
are
down.
stacked up
So I'm
with
going to
items
cut
people
this
have
to
been
size.
cleaning out their closets while staying home. Save big on all our clothing, including designer labels.
I'm wiring up the 4-axis joystick now, so I had a full tutorial on how to wire this up. So I found a decent way to get this wired up fairly easily. Whoops, my bad. I keep hitting my mouse button and it kept exiting my StreamYard on my thing, so dang it. All right, I gotta get my music back on now so I can get going. Glad I have a second camera going on so you guys can still hear what's going on. I might just redo my mix again. We might replay some songs, but I don't mind. I like the music. Nobody's guessed what this is from yet. Yes, I have a lot of panels, man, so you can see how long it's been taking. Apologies, I think you guys it'll be worth the wait, I promise. But I'm scrambling to try to finish them all this weekend. I'm finally off of work for 2 weeks, so I have a lot of time to finish up. So I will guarantee I will definitely get these done by this week for sure. Now I need to go run and grab a supply really fast. Looking for these, my ferrule crimping tubes that I still like to use. I remember I actually had some early complaints on some of my original tutorials. Happen to have some folks that always love to comment on my YouTube videos and post something like negative, which always kind of gets me down a little bit. But one person was always screaming at me like, ferrule crimping tubes suck, they don't work. And originally when I was crimping it, I also used to crimp down the plastic part too, but I found the reason why they weren't crimping tight is that this portion on the crimper, you have to tighten it. If you actually like adjust this and tighten it, it actually tightens the pressure. So now I can just crimp the top part and it's super secure. I can't even pull this off. So it was definitely user error. It was not the fault of the ferrule crimping tubes. For somebody that kept bugging me, it was like, these tubes suck. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man. They work for me. So I still never get folks that want to tear people down. So part of me doing this content and for doing tutorials is really just to help the community out. So I really appreciate the support for folks that are watching and putting positive comments down. And I've just learned to ignore the haters that I don't understand the unsolicited hate sometimes. But always annoys me. It's probably a Macross tune. Derek, get out of here, man. This is not a Macross tune. This is a classic RPG remix. This is Frog's theme from Chrono Trigger, man. Chrono Trigger. And this would be the theme from Metroid. Super Metroid, to be exact. Right, left. Up, down. For me, since I have the tool, this is a question from a Facebook user. If you're on Facebook, by the way, I can only see just the Facebook user, so I don't know exactly who's messaging. You have to allow StreamYard to allow your contact info. But you can absolutely just strip your wires down and plug them into the APAC. That's no problem doing that at all. I just, when I invested in the FerroTube kit, it's like, I'm going to use it because I have it. So I like it because I think it makes a little bit more of a secure connection, and I don't have to worry about it falling out. But tying these down into the screws with just the bare wire is absolutely fine too. This is just me being like kind of more OCD and just making sure that it's a secure connection. It looks clean. That's it. But I think it actually creates a better secure connection. When you're tying multiple tubes together, sometimes it can help for that as well. But it's not like necessary to use the ferro tubes. If you only have 7 buttons, you don't need to. But you also have the you have the 6 buttons on your actual yoke itself that you need to do, plus your 7 buttons. So it is quite a bit that you still have to wire into the APAC. And pretty soon, my 2021 tutorial isn't gonna even feature the APAC at all. Definitely that new Raspberry Pi encoder from, I think it's Geek Pi. I think that's the brand. It's hard to find it, but it's on eBay now. But the Geek Pi encoder is freaking awesome. It's what I'm using now to mod the Outrun. I have to do my Outrun tutorial first because I haven't finished it. I originally modded Outrun using the APAC, which worked fine, but that Geek Pi controller is awesome. I need to feature that more. So I've been waiting to record a tutorial on that. But that Geek Pi controller is going to be a game changer. Game changer. Did I make this playlist, Derek? Do you mean like the music? This is just a YouTube guy that I really, really like. His name is Vector U. Like Victor U. And he does these awesome remixes of these songs that are amazing. Absolutely amazing. And he gave me permission to use them on my streams, which is really even cool of him too. So that's why I'm featuring his work. He's freaking awesome. I love him.
Cardio burns fat, right? No. Cardio actually burns calories, usually in the form of carbs in the bloodstream that are then replaced with the very next meal that you eat and stored as more fat. This is why when you even eat low-calorie food or run for an hour a day, it gets softer, but you don't actually lose any weight. There.
Where are my strippers? I'm going to cut this and make another set of grounds. So what I'm doing now is like this controller has 4 different ground wires. The 2 ground wires for the pots, and then the 2 ground wires for the set of buttons that are here. So I'm stripping them down. I'm gonna make a male quick connection, and then that's gonna tie into the ground daisy chain that I have going on too. Ooh, David asked a really good question. Any idea when Starcade 2.0 is ready? Funny you should ask, but I just finished uploading the final version of it yesterday. So it's ready for me to start distributing. My focus and priority right now is these panels and commissions, and then from there I'll be taking a break from doing like any hardware commissions, and we'll be solely focused on kind of distribution of the playlist to my previous clients and then to new folks that want to get it. So it's imminent, I would say, very, very soon. So stay tuned. I'll be posting in my group as soon as it's available. Cool. I gotta heat shrink this down again. Yes, I will leave a link in my description to Vector U. Super awesome. I love all his mixes. They're really good. You couldn't tell. All right. Where'd my heat shrink tube go for this one? All right. That's heat shrink tube is on there. Now we are ready to add in our ground daisy chain wires. Okay. So I get these ground daisy chain wires from DIY Retro or some other places that kind of sell them as well. They're a little expensive for what they are, right? It's almost, I think it's like $5 for a pack, but you can use them for multiple things. And if you have multiple buttons, especially that use the Hap Cherry style switches, they are fantastic. So you don't have to wire individual wires into the APAC and stuff. So I just start on this top left corner here, and I leave this extra one kind of hanging because this is going to plug into my APAC. I actually cut this off and extend it, and so it touches the APAC. But these essentially now just daisy chain. And then I do the same for the LEDs too. So since I have so many LEDs, I use the daisy chain LED wires that power into a 12-volt adapter. I used to, in my original tutorial, I was like using USB connections, and you know, the APAC actually has voltage where you can actually power 5-volt buttons if you wanted to just power stuff directly from the APAC. But with this many buttons, I wouldn't recommend it. So that's why I still power these buttons externally with a 12-volt adapter. 12-volt adapter. All right, I'm going to skip this middle one, and then we're going to go to the second one here. Thanks, War Machine. Comments like this really kind of keep me motivated to keep doing tutorials and things like that. So I super appreciate that comment, and apologies to your wife in advance for the deep dive that you're going to get into this modding project. And like, I love it when folks actually, you know, do their own project and then ask me questions. Like, I would much rather, you know, support folks that are like trying and have followed my tutorials and have taken the time to like order parts. And if you get stuck anywhere, you know, then feel free to reach out. Happy to ask a question. What I don't like and what I don't appreciate are people that haven't taken the time to kind of like, you know, check out my tutorials or look at a parts list. And you know, for example, I got one person that just asked me generically, like, do you have any advice for modding the Star Wars cab? And then I sent him my original link to my tutorial, and then told him, you know, I have these are the parts list of things, and check it out, and happy to help. Or I guess I didn't say that much, but then he shot back a really passive aggressive response, was like, thanks for the generic response. And I felt really bad. Like, I don't know, like, if you have a specific question, I'm happy to answer it. But if you're just asking for general help, I'm gonna point you to my tutorials, because I don't have time to walk people through everything from beginning to end, right? That's the point of building a tutorial. Oh my goodness, why did this ground wire break again? Ugh. Gosh, I'm doing something wrong. All right, I'm gonna have to fix that. Okay, so I got my ground, and I left 2 on the ends for these 2. How did this break again? Did I solder? Did I cut something off? Hey, I have to bust out my soldering iron again. This normally does not happen. I normally don't break these when I'm tying these together, but like for some reason, it's not staying. These remixes are so epic. All right, nothing else break. Alright, so now I can daisy chain this into these. Thanks for coming out and checking it out, Derek. See you next time, man. I'll be here. I'll be finishing up your mod soon.
Only pay for the data you use with Google Fi's flexible plan.
All right, there we
So
go.
when you're on Wi-Fi a lot and don't need as much
Okay,
data,
next I got to extend this wire so I can get it to the actual ground input. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Where are my Final Fantasy fans at that recognize this music? No? Come in. Terra's theme, Final Fantasy 6 technically, or Final Fantasy 3 in the US. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do do do. Somebody just got here and heard something about bundled up black wires for ground. Where can I find a link for that, or what type can I search on Amazon? You said it was about $5. I'll leave a link in the description for it, but if you go to DIY Retro, that's where I get my stuff from. So I mean, it's not as fast as Amazon, but they do good stuff. I get a lot of my parts and supplies there. I get not only the ground daisy chain wires like this, I also get the I'll show you an example of it right here. This is the power adapter. So this is what lights up all my LEDs and then powers into one of these 12-volt adapters there. So you can just use a Y splitter. So both of those are available on DIY Retro. I also get the chrome buttons from him as well, because he does good chrome buttons as well. So yeah, that's where I would get it from. I'll leave a link in the description if you really are curious about it. Heat shrink time. This is my heat shrink gun. My little magenta pink heat shrink gun is actually my wife's. Her arts and crafts tools have now become mine. This is gonna go into here. It's too many wires for me. It is quite a bit of wires, but it's worth it. You can do it. Check out my Facebook group. I have some info on like my commission prices, but I'm gonna be on pause for doing commissions for a little while, just because they take up so much time, and like I wanna do every panel like it was my own, so that's why it takes so long. But I will do them again once I get faster, more efficient.
Our racks are stocked up with the items people have donated after cleaning out their closets while staying home. Save big on all our
There we go.
including designer labels Note and Love.
Lots of zip ties. Help me, I pay. I got you. All right, cool. So now everything is wired and grounded. This is where I do my testing. Now we're gonna plug this into the PC and make sure the wires are working before I keep going, because if I need to change any of the wires, then before I tie it down, I want to make sure it's working well. So this is Link's Awakening. I'm going to turn it down a bit. All right, let's plug this into the PC. I'll share my PC so that you guys can see what I do on the testing side. All right, so I'm going to plug this in here. Can't believe it took me an hour just to do that. Wow. All right, so let's do share screen. I'm just going to share my entire screen. There it is. You guys can see my entire screen now. Okay, so here's me looking at my Lunchbox playlist. There's my logo. Let's plug this into the PC. Okay, so to test it, you need to go to your start menu, type in USB, set up game controllers, the APAC. And the first thing we should see is a very centered yoke panel. So now I can test it. This is my up, that's my down, this is my left, that's my right. This should be button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it should go 7, 8, and then 11 and 12, 11, 12, and then the buttons are coin should be 10, and this is 9. So sweet, all the buttons on the player 1 side are working. Perfect. Next test is the player 2 side. So now we have the little throttle in there. So this is up, down, that's to the right, that's to the left, and then pressing this button is 1, turning it to the right or to the left is 2, turning it to the right is 3. So this actually has a twist function on the yoke itself, or on this little throttle. And then the buttons on the throttle side are, I believe, 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7. And then this should be 11 and 12. Going down is 11, up is 12. Perfect. So everything's working button-wise. Always have to test, right? That's like the #1 thing that I gotta do, is make sure it's working. If it's not working, then I gotta start over again. So testing, that might be the most annoying part, is like testing and like just making sure everything works, right? Now I have to like, now that everything's working, I can tie it down. I don't have to like worry about anything else. Here we go. I'm actually gonna wait to tie that down because I want to do the back wiring, but I am gonna heat shrink this now. Hey Keon, you just got Marvel vs. Capcom? Awesome, man. I am not anywhere near good as that game as I should be. I thought I would be decent. I thought I would be like kind of mid-tier, but I feel still scrubbish compared to a lot of the guys. I just gotta practice more. You guys didn't catch my interview with Eddie Good? That was really cool. Talking with one of the top players. Tie this down. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is, I'm gonna unplug this for now. I'm gonna light up the buttons, then we can tie everything down. Let's light up the buttons. Everything takes time. I probably can go a lot faster if I wasn't streaming. But we're gonna light up all these buttons using this 12-volt adapter. So let's get a sample 12-volt plug plugged in. Alright, so when I'm lighting everything up, I like to grab my sample 12-volt adapter plug and actually have it plugged in while I'm wiring everything. So 12 volts, even if you touch the edges and it's plugged in, you can't even feel it. So it's not, you don't have to be worried about electrocuting yourself with any of the 12-volt lighting stuff. It's very, very small electricity going through this, but you need it live so that you can test each of the terminals, so that way you can test to see if it's lighting up. So if it's not lighting up, then you just switch it. So that's it. You just kind of go through, and it's a guessing game. It's like you got a 50-50 chance if it's lighting up or not, and then if it if it's if your ground is on black or yellow is on this side. So like I just test it, and if it's not working, then I just flip these two essentially. I guess it depends on how you actually plug in your LED bulb is what determines which side is the ground and which side is the live. A 10. I just daisy chain these down. So that one is not lighting up, so switch it, and that's lighting up. So maybe there's some more rhyme and reason to like the bulbs, but otherwise I just kind of test it, plug it in, see if it works. And we just go one by one, get everything plugged in. I had some annoying issues with some of the red bulbs on my big red buttons not lighting up. And I've gotten bad LED bulbs from the manufacturer I get them from. So I was like, that's annoying. So here goes the moment of truth. Is the red bulb going to light up? Yes. All right. Yes. That is a yes. You're saying I look a lot like your neighbor, Keon? I don't know if that's a good thing. Us Asians all look alike, probably. But no, I've never been to New York. I'm born and raised in the SoCal, Los Angeles area. So not East Coast for sure. Okay, I will skip the middle one. We're gonna go to the other side again. They have a twin, same hair and all. I'd love to see my doppelganger. See if it's really another B Kong out there. Oh, another RPG classic. Anybody recognize this? I know it's kind of obscure to remember. Super Mario RPG. Who's played this game? God, I love that game. That game is so much fun. Okay. All right. Everything is lit up. Beautiful. Guys ready to see this? All right, let's check out a finished lit panel. Look how beautiful that is. Yeah. Got my back logo here. Got select. Got my radar button. Got your custom start coin. I know it's hard to see, but there's a TIE fighter and X-Wing there. I kind of make these extra logos for folks too if they want to change it out. And then I have Arabesh written into the letters here. So I think this client, Ralph, wanted the names of some of the planets. I think I have like Tatooine on here. I think this one says Naboo. One of them is Coruscant. Yeah, one of them is Mandalore. And then I have an exit button right there that you can see. So that's the exit button for the games. But yeah, that's a really nice lit up panel. And now I have to just tie all the wiring down. Not only do I tie the wiring down for the initial wires, but then you got to tie all the ground wires and this stuff too. And then the very last thing I'm going to do is going to put the power in here. And after that, I probably will call it quits on stream. So since my goal is to finish it this weekend, and streaming while I'm modding is not very time effective, if you will. But hopefully you guys get a little bit of insight into kind of the last stages of the setup. Like even to get to this point before I even started this, there was a lot of work that went into the drilling of the panel itself, into even just the initial prep of getting all the wires connected and stripped and prepped. So there's quite a bit of work that goes into, you know, getting everything just even to this stage. So I would say on this board alone, it's already been, you know, maybe 2-3 hours worth of work on this board alone, and then you know you multiply that by all the boards that I have to do. It adds up. So we'll be finding the time to finish everything, I promise. Okay, tie this down. Sean E says, really cool to see you doing this at work. Can't imagine doing this while streaming. Yeah, that's the YouTube in me. It's like, how can I create content? Like it's I have to do this anyways. Might as well just turn on a camera and see if I can do it without messing up too much. I only messed up a little bit when I was getting that ground wire down for the most part, but everything else is pretty normal. I usually go a little bit faster if I don't have to like talk and do this at the same time. But I'm glad you're here checking it out. Oh, that was dumb. See, like there's another dumb thing I did. I thought I like grabbed this wire to tie it down, but now this wire is like the zip tie is actually literally holding nothing. That was dumb. So that was a live stream mistake where I wanted to tie this little wire down, but I missed actually grabbing the wire. I missed the wire. Okay, let's grab it this time. Pay attention. Zip it down. Zip it down. Okay. To tie it down so everything is loose. Sean, your panel will look almost exactly like this. This is exactly kind of a version of the panel that I will be doing for yours as well. Okay. This is tied down. Okay. I believe this is Donkey Kong Country. You guys don't recognize the tune. What's up, Chris? C-Mart the Centatena is here. Thanks for joining. Thanks for appreciating my wire management skills. Just a little something to produce more content. Doing the work anyways. Hopefully you guys can see it. All right, that's good. Cut all this stuff down. And this is not your typical mod, right? Like most people are doing like the typical 6-button mods. All right. So this is like it's atypical placement of where you would see buttons on a control panel. So this is why it looks so funky and hard to really get a clean wired look. But I use a lot of zip ties. I use these square, the square zip tie holders. They're just kind of adhesive back. So I like just to show you how many I use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of the square backing thingies. And then I don't think I've ever counted how many zip ties I use on a single control panel. I could count, but I bet I'd say I use at least like maybe like 40 to 50, maybe like 40. I don't know. I use a lot. Like I'm not shy about using zip ties. I mean, they're just zip ties. You get them in packs of 1,000, so don't be shy about getting your wiring clean. All right, I need to do this top part, but I need to add in the power. Ricky Ma is in the house. What's up, Ricky Ma? How you doing, brother? Ricky Ma, Ricky Ma, Ricky Ma. All right, so now I'm going to take this, I think it's 14 gauge wire. I gotta go look again. I'm pretty sure it's 14 gauge wire. Does it say on here? It doesn't even say. But yeah, this is, I believe it's 14 gauge wire. And now I'm gonna be adding in some terminals to add it into the power cable. And once I finish that, we will call it a day. Well, at least for you guys. I'm gonna keep going with the rest of the 15 panels behind me. But for this stream, we'll call it a day after we finish that. Okay. So now I'm taking these baby spade connectors, and we're gonna attach them to this because this is what's gonna plug into the stock Arcade1Up switch. So I grab my, again, handy candy crimping tool. Zip ties for the win, absolutely. Lots and lots of zip ties. So we're gonna crimp that there and go into here. Who can recognize the name of this beat or where it's from? Anybody? Sky Vector U is brilliant, man. These songs all just bring back tons of nice memories, but in cool new techno beat style. This is the Lost Woods from The Legend of Zelda. Love it, it's good stuff. Okay. All right. So now that I have these in, I do have to bend them because I'm going to lift up the APAC a little bit. So this is where it gets a little bit complicated. So for folks that are doing this mod on their own, I don't know if I can recommend this for other people doing it if they're not comfortable with like electricity and wiring. So this is definitely way more advanced than I can recommend for, you know, your average modder folk. Because I'm not an electrician, but you know, I do this for my mods, and I'm pretty sure it's fairly safe. But I just want to make sure that people don't electrocute themselves or cause fires or anything. So always be cautious when you're working with power. So the first thing I'm going to do, even because these are exposed wires right here, I'm going to add some heat shrink tube to cover up a portion of the wire so then I can bend it as well. So I'm going to add my heat shrink tube here accordingly. And I'm going to be bending this for a 90-degree angle. So the heat shrink actually gives extra strength protection to it too. But I don't want to cover the whole thing because what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, I mean, for the most part, you can just like tie it in and make sure it's secure. But I've been soldering it a little bit more. So I'm see if I can do another soldering session. And I owe my soldering iron and materials to Ricky. So thanks for the recommendation, man. The soldering iron rocks that I've been using. So I'm going to heat shrink this. That's my heat shrink tube. You can see me doing this up here. Okay, so now that has been heat shrinked a little bit, now I can take these and I can bend them at a kind of 90-degree angle, and then they won't break. So that gives it that extra support that it needs for when I put it into the Arcade1Up. So let's go ahead and switch our control panel around and get that wired. Best on the market. I know, it's so good. Here's the brand of the soldering iron that I'm using that Ricky recommended to me. It's a Hakko. Really good. Awesome. I love this thing. Do 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 do. This is from Earthbound, and you guys were curious about what this is from. All right, let's turn this around. The reason why I didn't tie this down is because I'm going to be lifting up the APAC and then getting to the switch underneath the APAC. All right, so there's our switch that we're going to be wiring up to. So I use these bottom two terminals right there. This is what's going to plug into these that we just created. And then I'm going to take my soldering iron and attempt to solder it down just to give it that extra secure connection, because I don't want any of this to fall or break on a client, which it doesn't. I don't do this for everybody, but I've started to do it. So, I mean, if you already have a panel for me, this shouldn't come off at all. But I just like to be extra secure and safe. And safe, much as I can. Great. Okay. Got the solder. That's our iron. Ricky, don't judge me if you don't like my soldering technique. Boom. That's one side. And the other side. Ricky, have you ever burned yourself while soldering anything? Not fun. Not fun. Okay. All right. Take this here. All right, I think we got it. I think we got it. Let's turn this off. Those fumes are bad for you. Yes, thank you. I knew I was doing something wrong. I need more air ventilation in here since this is this stuff. Used to solder Super Nintendo controllers to make fight sticks. How fun, man. Look at you. You're like the original tech genius that I know, man. You inspire me to be better. All right, let's tie this back down. And then we'd be done, guys. We're complete with one panel. I just have like 15 more to go. All right, now I'm going to finish tying everything down into my wires, get my APAC and my LED portion of it lit up too, or wired up, and then we'll be done. You guys can't even see what I'm doing. I didn't have the camera down. All right. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, where was my test cable for the APAC? This one? All right. So my APAC controller is here. Got my LED plug here. The final stages of being complete. Forget how long just like a little extra details take besides the initial wiring. So this is now tied down. Have my power wires coming out from here. I always try to make sure that I zip tie the power connection in several places so that it's really secure and it doesn't apply any pressure on the actual switch itself. I did watch the last episode of Mando. Holy cow. No spoilers, but man, I was jumping up and down. My wife was in front of the screen taking a really close look, like when the action scenes were happening at the very end. It was like, is that who I think it is? Is it? Is it? They're like screaming. And then she was crying at the end, you know. But amazing. I'm so happy about that series. It's really good. All right. Clip, 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 clip. Like I used, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, like there's even zip ties going up and down this power cable too. There's a lot of zip ties. All right, that's it. That's a completed panel. We are, I think, pretty much done with this panel. Ralph, if you're watching, look, Ralph has a premium mod with a 4-axis panel. Done. The only thing I still have to do, and I kind of saved this for last, is that this has like a little like screw where I need to screw this down. So this little mount plate, which I'll do in a second, but otherwise that's it. I finished my mod. Look who just came to join me. You want to join me? Say hello. You want to say hello? Hello. We finished. You want to say how? Do you like the music? You see Daddy working on these Star Wars panels? Is it so silly? Okay. Say good morning.
Good morning.
Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Say everybody have a good day.
Have a good day.
All right, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me while I do this wiring. I'm gonna get back to work. I got 15 more panels to do. Let me know if you guys have any other questions. Quick questions. Brett, gathering my parts to do mine. Where did you get your buttons? I ordered. They're from different places, but you can get a set of them from Amazon. They're 34 millimeter square buttons that you can get from EG Starts to kind of get you started. Was the first button set that I got. These are big round buttons that you can also get from there as well. I think I have a link that I'll leave to my video that has the links in the product description, but I'll add more descriptions and links in this video too. So thanks for watching, guys. Catch you guys next time. Bye.